What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with yours, Kwame Fisher Jones. As always, I am him. And I'm joined by NJ.com general assignment reporter Chris Franklin. Chris, the eve of football, man. Football is back in about 48 hours.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we're already here. Like all this time, we're like, okay, what's these moves? I think the moves. Now we get to see how if it'll work or not. And I cannot wait, man. I cannot
Yeah, we
wait.
got a good one we start off with, too. I am drenched in sweating here, but we got a good one we start off with this year, man. Yeah, the first week, everyone says that, oh, it gets here so fast. For me, nah, gets here right about time. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. 2 weeks ago, I wasn't ready for it. I'm ready for it now, man. So, like everybody else, we're going to get our preseason or we're going to get our pre-snap predictions on wax and talk about the first week. So, let me get you started, man. What team or game are you what team or game is going to surprise people this weekend? What week one game are you going to be people are going to be surprised with on the outcome? Kind of in a good way.
I think the Commanders. I look at them. There's a lot of unknowns with them.
Ah,
A lot of unknowns. I'm sorry. I'm
yeah.
sorry, man. I
No,
look at it and I just see.
I didn't pick them for a reason, but yeah, you're right. I picked them in the last show. You're right.
It's great. Yet nobody has. I mean, you got limited tape on Jaden Daniels. You haven't really
Mhm.
seen. You've only seen the vanilla version of that offense. And I really look at what they have. I know they traded Jahan Dotson. They got a whole new office, Cliff Kingsbury, and you're thinking like Luke McCaffrey. You really want to give Luke McCaffrey a try and move jettison John Dotson? All right, go for it. But I look at the pieces they have, and week one is always the most unpredictable week for what have you. It's to me, it's like a bowl game. To me, it's
Mhm.
like you have all that time to prepare. You'll see some wrinkles that you haven't seen before in the previous tape for previous years. So I think that they have the element of surprise. It could be one of those games. Like I think a lot of these games this week are going to
Yeah,
go down one possession, and it's gonna be
yeah,
they feel like a team that's ripe for a team to make a play.
yeah. I actually picked the Commanders to win too. The Commanders slash Redskins slash Deadskins slash football team. I picked them to actually win this week, and mainly because I keep wanting to call their head coach Dick Allen, and it's not his name. I know his name. He used to coach the Atlanta Falcons, defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, and or excuse me, offensive head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. But his time in the NFC South, he knows the Buccaneers a little bit, just a little bit. Jaden Daniels, we mentioned him being unknown, but he's a dynamic playmaker. McLaren is true to his namesake. He's an underrated car. He's an underrated wide receiver who's effective on the outside. Washington's got a lot of good vibes, good things. New head coach, new quarterback, new owner, new mojo, new vibes, new result. I think they're going there and smack the Bucks around a little bit. So I agree with you on that. For me, my surprise is going to it's kind of like I want to say it's a good surprise because I think it's going to have a great impact on the player, but a lot of people are going to be considering it a bad thing. But I like the Tennessee Titans going into Chicago, 4-point dog to beat Caleb Williams and the Bears.
Ooh,
I like going to do that. And,
ooh.
Fliff has them as a 4-point dog. The line's going up a little bit. The Titans don't have much. They got
Uh,
L'Jarius Sneed, DeAndre Hopkins, Tony Pollard, maybe Jamal Adams. I'm just
that,
grasping at straws at this point.
uh,
They are not
that's ooh.
they are not and will not be a good football team. But you know who lost their week one start last year and had a pretty good damn season? CJ Stroud. Now
Yeah,
he
that's
lost
true.
to the Baltimore Ravens, albeit, but that's not the point. The point is I think the Titans come in and win that game. And then, like I said, they are Will Levis is at quarterback, so it doesn't bode well for my confidence. And I repeat, they are not and will not be a good football team. But Bill Callahan, his son is the head coach. But Bill Callahan, for those you don't know, is a really good offensive line head coach. He's a guy that has been able to do things with an offensive line. And if you've got a rookie quarterback, you're going to make mistakes in his first game. It's just the way the ball bounces. And you've got a guy that's got coming in an organization with no pedigree. Yeah, I like the Titans to shock the world.
Ooh. I wonder if Will Levis has a Mayo clause. If Hellman's is giving him 16,000 jars of mayo if he gets it right. That That's a lot. I think I can see it happening, like I mentioned before, with it being so unpredictable with the Titans. But it's the Titans. It's a team
Yeah.
that can't get in front of it. You got a new coach. You got Mike Vrabel. The fact they still move. I know he was button heads with ownership, but you don't have a good coach who, in my opinion, I know they had Derrick Henry last year and it was previous years, but he made a lot out of a little bit. I mean, it wasn't his decision to get rid of AJ Brown. That was upstairs. You try to go, you try to get everybody Traylon Burks. I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what? Let's replace AJ Brown with Traylon Burks and hope this rookie can get it. And you look what happened. So
Yeah.
Vrabel had enough. I just look at them. I said they're getting to me. They're getting towards Jets / Bengals territory with getting so close when it comes to ownership. I mean, I know they went to the AFC Championship game, but I got questions about their leadership and that culture now.
Well, I'm not a Mike Vrabel fan. I think he's a solid head coach, but I the Titans are a mess. Like I don't have a legitimate reason. This is more about Caleb Williams. This is more about the Chicago Bears not fully understanding what they are supposed to be. And they're going to expect this is their home opener. They've got the anointed one. To quote the great philosopher Bill Parcells, let's put the anointing oil away for a little bit. He had a tremendous preseason, exciting. How could you not be excited about him? Well, the Titans are. And they went out and got a guy like Jarius Sneed who is still going to be able to play cornerback. And all they need to do is get downhill. All they need to do is get up 6-0. It's similar in a much smaller stakes. Similar to what we talked about when I picked the Packers to go in and beat the Cowboys. All you got to do is get up enough. Just get up 6 points. And now the pressure's on the home team. Now the claps are going from to, you know, now people are like, oh boy, same old Bears, same old Bears. And they've got to overcome that. And I don't think they're there to do that yet. Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins, that's enough to make a play or two when those guys' juices get flown. So yeah, I'm going with the Titans. So give me a game where a team's going to disappoint.
I think I know it's been. I think that the Jets 49ers game is going to be so disappointing.
Really?
ESPN's going to. I think ESPN's going to look and go, "Wow, we did great." And I just think Rodgers is going to try to that offense lays an egg, and you also look at the fact that you don't have Hassan Reddick. I think that really the whole Hassan Reddick situation. I think is a big distraction, especially if you're a defense. I know you can make an argument and say, "Well, you know what? They're going to be focused. They'll want to show that they can do it without Reddick and blah blah blah." That's a big cloud hanging over, a
Yeah.
really big cloud hanging over that defense. And then Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh fighting for their coaching lives. And then the fact that you now have to go cross country on a West. Trent Williams, if he plays, I don't see how because he may be working out and saying, "Oh, I'm a football team." If he does play third quarter, you might see Willie Venus stuff happening with him. Yep, he's Trent
What you gonna
Williams.
see if he
Oh,
plays? Yeah.
it's so
He
bad,
can
but
blow up every cheeseburger he had for the last 2 weeks.
I
So
shouldn't
yeah.
have held in. I shouldn't have held in. So, but yeah, even with all that, you got the 49ers and they still have a lot of weapons. Ayuk, same thing. I put that in the same boat as Trent Williams, but they still have enough weapons to still beat them. You can put Sauce Gardner on Debo and what have you. There's still a lot of guys to go. So I look at that game. I think the Jets just lay an egg flat out, and you hope
Really?
that Rodgers lasts more than and you hope Rodgers lasts more than 4 places on.
Before I get to my game, it's funny. So I did again. I'm doing a sports betting show, and the guy I do the show with, he actually picked. He actually liked that game. He liked the Jets. I think it was 2.5. Now it's up to 4.5. And he said he liked the Jets to cover. And I said I could see that. It's been a crap show out here for San Francisco. I mean, between guys holding out, guys holding in, guys getting hurt, guys getting shot. It's been a bad situation for the 49ers. Then there was a report that came out today, and I don't want to mess up the writer's name, but he covers the 49ers. And he said that things aren't well there. He said that the ownership feels like we're paying a lot of money, we're not getting a lot of results here. We're not getting a championship team. So they kind of bulked at the signings, but they got them done. So that puts the spotlight on Kyle Shanahan. But this is why I told him I'm gonna tell you the same thing. I'm staying away from that game. You know why I'm staying away from that game? Two reasons. Aaron Rodgers is 99 years old, and he's got 200K on that odometer. And he is trying to start up a car in December, in the middle of December, without warming it up. The Jets are coming cross country, different time zone. And here's a little secret for all you people that live on the East Coast. At that second quarter, when it's like 11 o'clock your time, it's 11 o'clock in our bodies too. We're tired. So it's 11 o'clock. The Jets are going to be playing this. But here's the flip side of that. The 49ers seem to be just in a laze right now. They seem to be, it feels like it feels like it was gonna be the last dance, but it feels like the music's over and they just refuse to leave the floor. That's what it feels like with San Francisco. They've got Debo back. Well, they've had Debo 4 or 5 years. I mean, they've had everything they need to win and they haven't won, and it just feels like that was it. Last year was their shot, and it's over with. And now they got to play Purdy. So yeah, I'm staying away from that game. Too many unknown variables. It's not worth it. For me, the game that I think is going to upset, and we talked about this a few shows ago, the Houston Texans. I like the
Ooh,
Texans to lose to the Colts. It's a 2.5 point. Flips got it at 2.5 points. Texans favorite. I like the Colts. The Texans to me are they're not ready. They're a little overvalued, if you will. I use the
ooh.
analogy. Remember a few years ago, the Atlanta Hawks beat the Sixers, and went to the Eastern
Yep,
Conference Finals. And everybody
I
thought
was
Trey
there.
Young was the next. Yeah, and you asked the
Oh.
question that got Doc Rivers fired. It was this man was the man that asked the question. Do you think Ben Simmons can be your point guard for a championship team? This is the man that asked that question.
And Ben Simmons,
So,
you want to get traded? No. You sure you want to trade? I love it in Philadelphia. 6 months
yeah,
later, he's gone. Nah,
yep.
memories.
But yeah, it's but that's what the Texans remind me of. The Atlanta Hawks team that got a little further than everybody was everybody thought they would get. And instead of them staying the course, what do they do? They go out and get Stephon Diggs. Now they ready to go. They're a championship team. Anthony Richardson is back. I don't know what type of player he is, but I think he's good enough to win you a divisional game at home, your home opener with the not pressure, but all signs are pointing to you. I mean, there got people that got the Texans in the AFC Championship game. CJ Stroud is in the top 5, maybe top 10 of MVP candidates. Come on, man. That's a bit, that'll protest a bit too much. So I like the Texans to not just lose to the Colts, but have an up and down year.
Oh wow. And I can I can see them. They have to play a first place schedule, and you have to play the Chiefs. You have to play. See, I think I think they can beat the Bills. The thing I look at when I look at the Colts, is I like Shane Steichen as a head coach as well too. I like the way his scheme and the way he calls a play. With AR-15, he's effectively a rookie again because he missed so much
Yeah.
time. So I'm looking like, okay, is he gonna get in the flow? We know his physical skills, but all it takes is the Miko Ryans go, you know what? Let's drop 8 back and really make him try to pick us apart in the zone. Uh, uh, uh,
They can run the
wait, I
ball.
thought the zone's over there. They can run the ball, yeah. And you hope you got the guy to be able to do it. I know Jonathan Taylor's really good, but they can the ways they can influence. If they go to like even a Evangelo thing, they can influence the way of closing those gaps up, even though they're showing us. I look at them like, because I think the Colts will compete for it and they'll be contenders for the South. I really do think so. I just look at I look at Texans just like, yeah, I believe. I don't think they're going to the AFC Championship game. I can see
Yeah.
a divisional round run to them. I can see that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting run, but I really think the Colts. Now, week two will be a different story, and we'll go through those games when week two gets here. But I really, that just sets up home opener, the divisional opponent. Everyone's healthy. They've got a new quarterback that's essentially a rookie. You've got zero film on, and you're the hunted now. You're not the hunter. You're the hunted now. Teams are coming for you. They've got books on CJ Stroud. This is the thing about the NFL that makes it great. So you play your 17 game schedule. 16, it used to be 16, now 17 game schedule. Then you go into the offseason. Most of the coaches spend the entire offseason preparing for that week one opponent. Most of the coaches spend their entire offseason sitting there watching film on that week one opponent. Most of the players sit down and get ready for that week one opponent. That week one opponent is not just a regular opponent, it's a divisional opponent. So there's a little bit more behind it. And now it's the guy that's supposed to be picked to run the division. Just think the Colts come out. Now, look, could be wrong. They get blown out by 40. Yeah, what are you going to do? But I think they pull it out. Give me a game you're going to be watching. You're excited to watch. You don't really know what's going to happen. You're just excited to sit down and watch.
I'm really looking forward to the Cleveland Cowboys game. I really
Ooh.
am because I want to see Deshaun Watson what he looks like now. Because we
Mm-hmm.
know that Cleveland defense, Miles Garrett, and they're legit. And Jim Schwartz, he did. I know. I got to double check to see if he won it, but PFWA has the assistant coach of the year. To me, he deserved it with the way that defense played last year. It was stout. And if they had the actual offense to go counter with, I know Deshaun was hurt, but if they had him, they would have been good. I
Yeah.
want to see Deshaun. It's put up a shut up time for him. You got all that guaranteed money. They traded a boatload for you. Yeah. So
The
I
money
had to talk
route
to
will be
him.
crazy with the money route.
I don't know. Yeah. And look at him for everything he went through. They bet heavy on him,
Yeah.
heavy. And now you have to be the team in the North because you're playing the toughest. To me, it's still the toughest division
Yeah.
in the league by far. And you can't get behind the eight ball early on. And I look at what the pieces they have together. I know Amari Cooper, that whole talk of borderline of, well, he's a one, maybe he's a 1B2, whatever. You got pieces there. You got a good running
Yeah.
game. Put up or shut up. And you the Cowboys, we all looking about the whole, okay, CD's there. Dak's got a lot to prove. Dak's playing for his next team. He's playing for his next team right now. And it's a
Yeah.
good way to start out 425 window. Yeah, I think that's a good way to say America. Yeah, I'm being a mercenary. I'll go to the highest bidder. I'm going to try to make as much money as I can, and they go out. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a good back and forth. Ultimately, I think the Browns win the game, but I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a good way to start it up.
I think the Browns put the nail in the coffin of the Cowboys first week. First week. I think
Ooh.
Dak, I'm not going to say Dak goes out with injury because I hate putting that on players, but I think this is the week where Dak starts making business decisions. This is the week Dak starts making business decisions. Nothing wrong with it because you're talking about six. I always laugh. You're talking about 70, 60, 50, about $70 million on the line in guarantee money at least. Maybe I said, maybe I tell you, my hammies a little tight. Miles Garrett is coming around that corner a little tougher than expected. So I think this is the week they put the end on it and they start questioning him. I like that game. For me, I want to see what Lamar is going to do. This is my two-time MVP. He won the MVP twice in the last 6 years. This is the guy that was supposed to take the NFL over, and he wet the bed. He wet the bed. It's just that simple. And as much as I don't like, you can't go forward if you're always looking back. I'm still looking at that AFC title game like, damn it, Lamar. And he's
Should have had
lost
it.
weight. Whoop de damn do. He's looked great in preseason. Whoop de damn do. They're gonna get air the ball out more. Whoop de damn do. What are we gonna do when the playoffs start? And I'll get a window with that because they should come out ready to play. This is a very critical game for the Ravens. For the Chiefs, not so much. Not so much. They're down for the three-peat, but they've mastered the technique of taking it week by week. But the Ravens got to send a message not to the league, not to the Chiefs, not to the media, but to themselves. Like we blew this game. They didn't beat us. Shout out Russell Westbrook. They didn't beat them. They lost. And a lot of sports fans know what that means. And the Ravens, they fumbled in the goal. Look, they just weren't ready to be a championship team. Are they ready now? Are they ready to take care of business against the best? Well, I will say this against the best quarterback in the NFL. I'll say that hands down. So that's the game I'm watching. I can't get a read on, and I don't think the Chiefs are going to be hell bent on winning that game. I think they're just ready to get the marathon going that is the NFL season. So I got
Yeah.
this. This one is this. I've been thinking about this all day, so I'm going to go with you. Give me your MVP prediction.
It's tough. And you know what? I look at ebbs and flows, and I'm not doing a cop out, but I think because they didn't give it to him last year, he's due for one contractually because Goodell's going to try to force it on him probably, and that's Patrick Mahomes. I hate to say it, but I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be boring when they go, well, we didn't give it to him last year. He's the face of the league. He'll put up a good, decent numbers, and then we'll hear, "Oh, look at this dynasty talk! It's going to." I don't think they win it, but yeah, look at the dynasty talk! He's looking set up. It's going. They're a juggernaut, and then that happens. So since he didn't get it last year, I'll go stick with that one. But I think, and it's not going to be Hurts because I know that everybody's going to look at it's a damage you do, damage you don't. Wow, you have all these. If he does, wow, he had all these weapons around him. He did that, and then if he doesn't, see, we told you he wasn't a great quarterback, so he won't get the votes as well too. But I think it's Mahomes.
Interesting. All right, so get comfortable because I got a long answer coming your way.
I'm
And
set.
I'm
I'm set. I'm
long-winded
ready.
normally. So since 2018, three people have won the MVP. Lamar Jackson twice, Aaron Rodgers twice, Patrick Mahomes twice. So I'm not going to pick any of those dudes because I don't think they're going to win it a third time. So you got to dig a little deeper. So that's since 2018. So I don't think CJ Stroud's going to win it. I love Jalen Hurts. I mean, I'm a big Eagles guy. Every year the Eagles are going to go 20-0 and they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're not going to lose a game. They're a great team. So I can't pick Jalen Hurts and really believe it's not my fandom. But then I'm peeling the layers back and like, damn, those three guys every year. Well, I think Mahomes is going to have a lights out year. I think he's going to put up tremendous numbers. But I don't think he's going to win the MVP. Well, why don't I think he's going to win the MVP? Because I just think somebody else is going to have not a more impactful, but more astonishing season, like more eye-popping, ball in hand season. It won't be somebody throwing it to someone else to deliver a play. I think this person's going to get the ball and blow your mind. So you're like, all right, well, is it going to be Myles Garrett? Hell no. Defensive player ain't winning MVP. When was the last non-quarterback to win the MVP?
Was it
So
Adrian Peterson?
Adrian Peterson. But you got to go all the way back to 2012.
Yeah.
2012. So 12 years ago was the last time a non-quarterback won the MVP. So then you start looking and you say, okay, well, was it a run then? No. Because 6 years prior to that, LaDainian Tomlinson won. So since 2006, 18 years, two non-quarterbacks have won the award. So then Sean Alexander won it after him or prior to him in 05. But if you go down to 2000, you know who won it in 2000? Another non-quarterback, Marshall Faulk.
Oh
So
yeah, I
here
forgot about him. Yeah.
it starts getting interesting. Now the wheels are spinning in my own second level thinking head here. This is not the year of the quarterback. This is going to be the year of the running back. This is going to be the year that a running back wins the MVP award. And there's only two that I think have the cachet. So first of all, to be a running back and win the award, you got to play in a major market. You got to play in a major market or you got to put up eye-popping numbers. But what if you do both? What if you play in a major market like, I don't know, San Francisco? And you put up monster numbers, but it can't happen in San Francisco because I don't think the Niners are going to be that good. I think the Rams will be coming for him. And I think the attrition starts to play on Purdy and McCaffrey. So who else plays in a major market? Who else has a story to go along with being an MVP as a non-quarterback? And who else is in an offense that could possibly give him enough attempts to put up monster numbers? So I had to take my hat off, my fan hat off, and really think about this. My MVP pick is going to be Saquon Barkley. And this is if he didn't play for the Eagles, if he went to say the Miami Dolphins, he would still be my pick. If he went to say, I'm trying to think of a team with a really great offensive line and a great and sit lined up perfectly. If he went to the Rams, he would be my pick. But he went to a team in a division of the team that let him go. He went to an organization with a head coach with something to prove, an offensive coordinator with something to prove, and a quarterback who's about tired of everybody. He went to a team with two potent weapons on the outside. So you're going to let A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith beat you? Dallas Goedert beat you? I don't think that's going to happen. And here's another thing. Saquon can catch the ball. So you're going, and it's like, well, pick your poison. Not really, because the Eagles can line you up to dictate how you're going to be poisoned. So taking my fan hat off, looking at a guy that has a story coming from the New York Giants, a woe-begotten franchise, going to an organization that's got they got the biggest or second biggest offensive line in football.
Yeah,
Going,
it's that thing is huge. I think Cam Jurgens the one that sold him back. He was like 3-3-0 something. And that's it. Everybody else is like somebody said it best. I forget who it was. I thought I was credit him. No, the Monstars. Who's
yeah.
walking around there?
and and here's the thing, Chris. Here's what really blew my mind. We both think the Commanders will be good. And by good, we're picking 9, 10 games possibly. The Giants are gonna suck. They're gonna suck. They're gonna be awful. They just unretired a number for a guy that they picked in the first round. That if he goes into the Hall of Fame, they're gonna retire the number again. Like it's like who's on
It's true.
first over there in New York? You know what I mean? And Dallas is his own saga. So I'm thinking like opportunities there, the stories there, the comebacks there. Jalen doesn't care if he's an MVP, but he would be ecstatic. Saquon is because you know why? And this is just me being a competitive fire, and I'll give you the final word. It was a quote that Jalen Hurts said about 2 weeks ago. It was in the Enquirer, I believe. See, yeah, it was on the Enquirer. And he said, when we had Jason Kelsey, there were a lot of times I had questions, and they told me, don't worry about that. Kelsey takes care of that. And I missed out on a lot of opportunities to learn. I'm excited to have those opportunities now. I love that dude, man. I love that dude. I love that. I do. 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 And I look at a team that started out what 10-1 last year. The year before that, got the ball rolling. I forget what their record was to start off. Excuse me, but they're coming out. They're going to play the Packers. I don't know if that game is going to be canceled or not. I've heard rumors about that. But either
That's
way,
fine.
they're lined up. Things are setting up for Saquon to have a monster year. And he starts out the way AJ started out. The difference is help. Obviously, if he's healthy, but the difference is they're not going to be able to stop him. You put 10 in the box, it doesn't matter. Because once AJ goes over top, once they start airing it out on you, you're gonna say, all right, we gotta stop there. We gotta stop it. So now you gotta deal with the runs. And let's say he gets 15 carries. So Brian Westbrook numbers: 15 carries, 6 catches, 200 yards from scrimmage per game. Holy crap, he's got 2,000 yards from scrimmage by week 10.
I see your point. I
Yeah.
do see your point because they'll be playing a lot of zone because they're going to want their eyes not only on AJ and Devontae and not give up the big play, but they want to keep your eyes on Hurts when he's running. So I can see that happening too. And I can see him picking up 6, 7 yards, and when he's running in train camp, it happening. The only reason it's almost like the same Hurts argument for MVP. He has too many weapons around him. If he was by himself like this, why didn't he do this with the Giants? That's the only reason. That's the reason why I think. And then also the whole, well, the MVP is a quarterback award. Let's give him offensive player of the year, maybe. And then which I don't understand because if somebody most valuable player is most valuable player, not well because of your position, you're an offensive. I got an argument with that. But I still think I know his name's out of nowhere, but I think because they have a competent offensive coordinator now and a competent quarterback, I look at Bijan Robinson as a sleeper to potentially
Yeah.
go for that.
But the problem with that is, and this is how it started. This is a purposeful comment. He doesn't play in a big enough market. Doesn't play in a big enough market. Atlanta's a big market, but it ain't Philly. Philly is a
That's true.
huge market playing other huge market teams playing on prime time. Even if they're not the nationally televised game, they're still the top 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock game. And if the
Yep.
Niners do what I expect them to do, which is up and down all year, who else in the NFC is going to consistently be there? And you mentioned the numbers, he's got a lot of weapons around him. True, but you've got an offensive coordinator that has to do it. You got a head coach that has to do it. You got a quarterback like lives are on the line here. He gets hot, which is very likely that you're not gonna be able to stop that train. You're not gonna be able to stop that train. And you look up, bro. It's week 11, week 12, and this man's got 2,000 yards from 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Who gonna stop him? Patrick Mahomes gonna have to throw for 6,000 yards, which he could probably do, but I don't see it. So Saquon Barkley's my MVP pick.
That's not bad. I can see the case for him. It's a legit case. Well, I think so. I also got to worry about Kellen Moore too. You got to worry about Kellen. Like I know he gets credit for he gets the thing of being a pass happy, but I think he goes with the run. We've seen him run with that Zeke. Also, I want to know how much like if they start seeing he's used early on, do they start to rest him a little bit, like with that load management stuff, and they go, well, we'll give you 15 touches. I know he could be approaching the record. Let's give him 15 touches. Let's give Kenny more touches as the season goes along, that late in the season, and then we'll make them fresher. And then when it comes to the playoffs, we'll ramp them back up again. I can see, but I can see a case for Saquon really being the MVP. Like I keep going back and forth, vacillating this up.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Even if they only give him the 15 touches, let's say 10 runs, 5 catches. 10 runs, he goes for 70 yards. Pop. Right? Because they're not going to do the tush push as much. And for those 5 catches, he goes for 40 yards. It's 110 yards from scrimmage, Chris, and a touchdown on 15 carries on a league that's driven by numbers, fantasy sports numbers, too.
You mentioned tush push. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but they've been they still on a thing, and I wonder if they're going to vulture, if Hurts is going to vulture some of his touchdown stats, because everybody's going to look at the totals like I feel like 2,000, but he only has 4 rushing touchdowns because they get to the one and I just go, you know what it is. If you ever watch the video with Malik Joe, the comedian, he does a great thing with like 4th and 1. What do we do? We're gonna throw it today. No, you know what's coming up. And he has this real sneaky look like he's playing Jalen Hurts, like you know what's coming up. That's the only thing I worry about them trying to do. I hope they do right by him and hand the ball off to him, but
You ain't got to hand the ball off to him. What's Saquon Barkley squat?
He's near 600
Like,
too.
yep. Ho. So what do you do? What can you do at tush push? Take out Hurts, put Barkley in. Chris, I've been thinking about this. You've been thinking about your MVP all day. I've been thinking about it all week. Like I'm telling you, bro, it all set up for me, man. Quickly, we got about 4 minutes. Super Bowl prediction. I'll give you the final word. Super Bowl prediction.
Super Bowl prediction. I've been going back and forth on this one, but I think it's going to be. I think we saw it at the opening of last year. I think it's going to be Chiefs Lions, and the reason why I think Chiefs Lions. Yeah, the reason why it's all going to come down to those last 3 weeks of the season. And I look at the home field, whoever gets the top seed in the NFC is going to the Super Bowl. I really believe it because when you look at the places where you got to play, well, except I don't think the 49ers are going to be there for the top seed, so that's out. But Detroit, it gets loud. That Ford Field is underrated in terms of like the noise, trying to make your checks and everything else like that. And I look at the ground game, especially late in the season. I know we're talking about Saquon. You look at the 2 running backs they have that can really, especially Jahmyr Gibbs, that can grind it out, and a guy who's speed, who can also, he's another guy you can potentially make a case to be an offensive player of the year, who can catch the ball in the space. And that defense can be, I think the defense is going to be a little bit better than what they were last year. So I look at that. That's why I get the Lions. I think they host the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. The Lions win that. On the AFC side, I'm just trying to find a team that can actually stop the Chiefs, like in their pedigree. And you can make a case saying for them, saying they play a lot of games. There's a lot of wear and tear on them. They may fade down the stretch and they come take over that. But then I look at it's not the Texans, it's not the Bills, it's not the Jets, in my opinion, not the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Maybe the Browns. Maybe you get Chiefs Browns and you hope that the defense plays for them. Schwartz comes up with something, which he's done before. He stopped a big quarterback, even though he allowed 500 yards in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. But at least they found out they came out the right thing. So you can never count on Jim Schwartz. And so, but I think we're headed for Chiefs Lions. And I was looking at the thing, and I just think the Lions are going to have just one more win than the Eagles, and that gives them the 1 seed.
But I said I'd give you the last word. I lied. I am going to sum mine up real fast, though. My heart and head are usually separate, but my heart and head are saying Eagles. But I'm not going to pick the Eagles because they're my team. So I'm going to go with another team I think is going to sneak it in here. We got maybe a minute left. I'm going to go with Rams versus Ravens in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Los Angeles Rams versus the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles lose in the title game, and I think the Chiefs lose in the divisional round. I think Patrick Mahomes gets dinged up, and that's how they lose. That's it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. He's Chris Franklin. I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. And until next week, we appreciate your time of year. You be easy.